Hello and welcome back to White Collar Woker. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we're unfortunately talking about the fact that London is going into Tier 3 as of midnight on Wednesday the 16th of December. Now, this video is to look at the data as to why that's happening and what my opinion is about it. The first thing, all the graphs that I show are from the Office of National Statistics, which has a very good reputation in the UK. All the graphs will appear here. So the first thing to look at is rates in London. Now, this is a graph that shows the rates depending on the region. So you'll see that some regions, the number of cases are going down. Particularly areas in the northeast and the northwest have done so much over the last couple of months to keep those infections down. The main thing to look at is the rates in London have increased. It's gone over the 1.5% mark, and that's percentage of infections week on week. They do week on week infections, and it started at 100 and it's gone up 1, it's gone up 1%. And they measure that on a week by week basis per region. So they've looked at these infection rates per region, and unfortunately the rates in London are going up. The second thing to look at is, it's very interesting looking at the age difference, because what they're able to do is look at positivity rates depending on age. Now, I'll put something up from the ONS here. They're saying that the number of people in secondary school age, that is the age bracket that's getting the most increase of cases. They're saying 1.9% increase, whereas age brackets, such as 25, 35, 35, 45, 45, 55, those levels of infections are levelling down. So that's the reason why Sadiq Khan and some of his Labour council leaders are saying to close schools, because the rate of increase of infection is highest in secondary school kids. I'll come back to my opinion on that in a second. The last thing to look at is probably the grimmest graph. It's the deaths, and there's such, you can see that, and you've been able to see this from day one, there's such a age discrepancy on this. You can look at hospital admissions. I think it said earlier, it's 40 times more likely to be admitted to hospital if you're over the age of 55, 65. And just look at that graph. I mean, if you're 85 and over, they are the majority and rate per 100,000 hospital admissions. And of deaths, the skew is almost exactly the same. But look at the furthest most graph on the left. You'll be interesting to see that the school year 12 to age 24 and 7 to 11, those that's the age bracket where the number of infections is increasing. So that is why Sadiq Khan is saying for the schools to close early, a week early, and also to go back to school later, because that is where the most infections are rising. London was also seeing the highest increase in rates. Now, what do I think of it? Because that's the evidence, that's what they're telling us at the moment. But what do I think of it? Let's get down to the crux of it. This is a political decision. Yes, the rate of infection is going up in school children, and yes, we can all admit that if the infection goes up in one area or one age bracket, it's going to go into the other age bracket eventually. It might not happen if people are smart for Christmas, but it's unlikely. But the point is, this is a political decision. Politicians have to make a choice whether or not they should prioritise saving lives, saving the NHS above anything else, above children's education, above the livelihoods of business owners and from people who work in the hospitality and retail sector. At the moment, politicians are prioritising mainly the lives and health of pretty much everyone over the age of 55, 65, mainly 75. The average age of death is around 80 at the moment in the UK. It's a political decision. I understand that's the evidence we've looked at as to why they've made that decision, but it can't be sold to us as if it's saving the NHS. The NHS is there to look after mainly the elderly. We have a very well-funded healthcare system comparatively for a country like Brazil, Ethiopia, a lot of the developing emerging markets. The UK has an incredibly good health system if you look at historical standards. It's not perfect. But politicians are making a choice to prioritise the health of the elderly over the people who are currently trying to get on with their lives. And that's lowering education standard for children. That is really putting a lot of small business owners under, and it's really hurting people in the private sector. And I think the problem that a lot of people have is that the people making these decisions are in the public sector. Their paycheck doesn't get affected if the schools close, if businesses close. They keep getting their pension and they keep getting their wage no matter what. But it should not be covered up. This is a political decision in order to prioritise one age group over another. The evidence is there. I understand it, but these saying these policies, shutting schools, as if it's a matter of fact without any trade-offs, it's not genuine. Because if Sadiq Khan is closing the schools, then really what he's doing is prioritising the elderly over the education of children. So that's my explanation of the tier 3 lockdown in London. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I try and do videos Monday to Friday. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.